Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I am super excited for this video because today is going to be the first time I've ever listened to Talking Heads before. I have, of course, heard the song Psycho Killer, but I have never listened to this album before, or in fact sort of any of their other songs. Quickly, just before we do start this video, if you would like to support me, I have channel memberships on the channel, and I also have a Patreon that you can go and find in the description down below. I also would just like to let you know that I do like to talk sometimes between the songs, so if that's not your thing, feel free to click off the video now. But without further ado, let's just begin. That bass is crazy.
I'm so thin. All I want is to breathe. I'm too thin. Won't you breathe with me? Find a little space so we move in between it. Keep one step ahead of yourself. Don't you miss it? Don't you miss it? Some of you people just about missed it. Last time to make plans. I'm a tumbler. I'm a government man. Never seen anything like that before. Falling bodies tumble across the floor. But I'm a tumbler. When you get to where you wanna be. Thank you, thank you. When you get to where you wanna be. Don't even mention it. Oh, take a look at these hands. They're passing in between us. Take a look at these hands. Take a look at these hands. I don't have to mention it. No thanks. I'm a government man.
This is... so different.
Goes on, and the heat goes on, and the heat goes on, and the heat goes
Wow. What an interesting song. Honestly, I have no idea what I was expecting, but I didn't expect this really groovy, sort of funky song that we got. Especially, this is the very start of the 80s. Oh, it said there, 8th of October, 1980. I feel as though my interpretation of this song is probably biased because of all the listening of Pink Floyd that I've been doing at the moment, but for some reason, especially with the hand of a government man, this song makes me think of being born in a society where it's like really hard to sort of become who you want to become unless sort of luck is on your side. And I think it's sort of talking about how, yeah, I don't really know how to explain really what I mean, but I'm just sort of getting like a similar vibe from Pink Floyd of how hard it is to sort of grow up in a world where everything feels as though it's against you. Okay, so over on Spotify it says, the creation of Born Under Punches was a collaborative effort with the band and producer Brian Eno developing the song through a series of jams and idea exchanges. This method allowed them to experience freely, resulting in the song's rich layered sound that defied conventional structures. Yeah, like those drums. I mean, when I think of Talking Heads, obviously because Psycho Killer's the only song that I really know, that's sort of the instrumentation that I picture. So the drums that are in that, I don't know, that's sort of more of the vibe I was expecting here. But instead, yeah, you've got this piece of music that really does not follow a conventional structure, really. You know, usually it's like verse, chorus, but this sort of felt very different to that. I also really loved the instruments in the back. I don't even know what it was, but it was like I don't know, I just thought it was really cool. Lyrically, this song introduces a character known as the Government Man, portrayed as a harassed and unstable figure. The song's abstract lyrics and Burns' frantic vocal delivery paint a picture of someone overwhelmed by societal pressures, adding depth to the track's energetic rhythm. Oh my god. Hey, look, Pink Floyd have definitely got me seeing things how they should be seen, because that's sort of exactly what I took away. The guitar solo in this song has an interesting backstory. David Byrne recorded it using a Lexicon prime time delay unit, piecing it together bit by bit and manipulating the speed during playback. This experimental approach added a unique, almost otherworldly sound to the track. During live shows, guitarist Adrian Belew took over the solo, bringing his own flair to the performance. Okay, this is super interesting. So, when Talking Heads were working on this song, they were heavily inspired by African music, especially the rhythms of Fela Kuti's Afrobeat. Apologies if I did pronounce that wrong. This influence led them to layer multiple percussion instruments and create complex polyrhythms, giving the song its distinctive groove. It was a bold move that blended their new wave style with world music elements. That's pretty cool. So we're going to move on now to Cross-Eyed and Painless. Okay. I don't even know what to focus on.
Lost my shape, trying to act casual. Can't stop. I might end up in the hospital, changing my shape. I feel like an accident. They're back to explain their experience.
Yeah. I'm a bit speechless from that. That was like super groovy. A little bit more, I got more of like the groove from the drums in this song compared to the last song. I could hear like the actual drums in this song. This song, I feel as though I've got a few things in mind from what I think the song could be about. So my first thoughts in the start was it reminded me of last year when I've sort of been diagnosed with OCD and sort of how alone and isolated and just how different it felt to sort of be finally diagnosed with something, but yet it felt very isolating at the same time. And then at their very end, when it sort of mentioned about facts or this, facts or that, this point, this place here, it made me think about how, I don't know, there's just something about how our brains work that our brain just does not care that much about facts. We always, as people, live in more of an emotional state, and facts can say X, Y, and Z, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a practical way for us to actually feel. In the sense of, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but it's just, I feel as though this song is trying to make you aware sometimes of the world that's going on around you and not to just take things necessarily at face value, sort of listen more and internalize more things than just what's given to you, you know, have more of a think about what's happening. So Cross-Eyed and Painless, let's have a look what it says on Spotify. So apparently this song was influenced by early hip-hop. David Bryan's rapid-fire delivery in the song was inspired by Curtis Blow's The Breaks, which drummer Chris France introduced to him. This blend of new wave and hip-hop elements gave the track its unique rhythmic feel. Damn, that's super cool. The track features a mix of instruments like cowbell loops, congas, bells, and staccato guitar rhythms create an African-inspired groove. This fusion of sounds was part of the band's exploration of world music influences during the Remain in Light era. I could definitely hear a cowbell in there. I don't know if I could hear many of the other, I mean obviously the guitars I could hear, but I could definitely hear that cowbell that was in there. I don't know what it is, but cowbells are just so satisfying to listen to. Cross-Eyed and Painless became Talking Heads' highest chart dance single, reaching number 20 on the US dance chart. Its infectious rhythm and innovative sound made it a favourite in dance clubs, showcasing the band's ability to blend genres seamlessly. The lyrics dive into themes of paranoia and alienation. Am I just like on a different wavelength today? Damn. Reflecting the stress of urban life, lines like facts are simple and facts are straight, facts are lazy and facts are late highlights a skepticism towards objective truths, a reoccurring theme in Talking Heads. I think I'm on something different today. Oh, sorry, I don't know. I think I just accidentally clicked on a lyric. But I feel like I'm just built different today. Because how am I just getting what these songs are about straight away? That must be a Pink Floyd effect. Okay, we're moving on to The Great Curve now.
Sometimes the world has a load of questions. Seems like the world knows nothing at all. The world is near, but it's out of reach. Some people touch it, but they can't hold on. She is moving to describe the world. She has messages.
Oh, I like that part.
The world has a way of looking at people
Oh yeah.
World moves on a woman's hips. The world moves and it swivels and bumps. World moves on a woman's hips. The world moves and it bounces and humps. What a night! She gonna open her eyes up. What a night! She gonna open her eyes up. She gonna open, 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 open. What a night! She's gonna open her eyes up. She's going to describe the world. She's got messages for everyone. She's moving the remote control. And the guys are all
Okay, that was epic. What the heck? The guitar solos in this, which is absolutely amazing. I love this. I'm really loving like the genre blends that they're doing. Obviously, I've read in the about sections in the past two songs. I can really sort of hear the genre blends that they're doing now, and I really love how there's still like guitars that are really, really prominent in there, but also the other layers of instruments is just, it's so interesting how they've done this. For me, this song, it took me a little while to sort of figure out potentially what it was about, but as we got sort of halfway through, it made me think about what it's like to be a woman. I mean, obviously, this was made all the way back in the 80s, so things have changed a little bit since then. But it made me think about what it's like to be a woman in society, in the sense of, I feel as though there's many things that you're kind of told into what you should do, and I feel as though this song is the inside voice of those thoughts of you trying to figure out what your own path should be while you've got so many other voices speaking to you. And I suppose I've said being a woman in this, and you know, my main reason for saying that is the fact that they use the pronoun she, but I mean, of course there's other people in the world who feel like this too. You know, there's a lot of voices out there telling you that this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do, and sometimes it just gets very overwhelming and very confusing. And I feel as though, especially with these parts here where the vocals were overlaid, for me that really represents that inside chatter mixed with the outside chatter of the world, and you trying to just sort of figure out which one it is that is what you actually want to pursue. I don't know, I just found this song so interesting. It was so good. Like I said, I really love these parts where there was the overlaying of vocals. So during the recording of this song, it says that there was a very collaborative approach here, and that there's a lot of different genres in this, which I suppose is what I mentioned. And there was a innovative fusion of funk, rock, and world music influences. The lyrics of The Great Curve celebrate the power and influence of femininity with lines like "The world moves on a woman's hips." This reflects the band's exploration of African rhythms and themes, inspired by their studies of African music and culture during the creation of Remain in Light. Oh wow, so it's actually pretty much spot on the nose with saying that it was about, you know, being a woman, I guess. And I think that they actually explored it very beautifully, and I love the exploration that they chose to do of African influences. Oh, and that's all the information that we have for the song. Okay. Wow. Yeah, this was just such a beautiful song. I'm really loving this because it's so different to what I really expected. I don't know, like I say, sorry for sort of mentioning this again, but I was really sort of expecting, I guess, just Psycho Killer to, like, the instrumentation and that to be the overarching theme of this album, but I couldn't have been further from wrong. So it's actually a really nice surprise to hear what this album is actually about. And next up, we've got Once in a Lifetime. Damn! It's like oscillating synths here.
You may find yourself living in a shotgun shack, and you may find yourself in another part of the world, and you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile, and you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife, and you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
Okay, I have heard this song before.
Same as it ever was. 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 Water dissolving and water removing. There is water at the bottom of the ocean. Under the water, carry the water. Remove the water. Remove the water. Remove the water. You may ask yourself, what is that beautiful house? You may ask yourself, where does that highway go to? And you may ask yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again, into the silent water, under the rocks and stones. There is water underground. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again, after the money's gone. Once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Look where my hand was. Time isn't holding up. Time isn't after us. Same as it ever was. 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 Here a twister comes. Here comes the twister. Same as it ever was. 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 Once in a lifetime.
You can always tell whenever it's a 70s or 80s song because it will always end in a fade. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why Pink Floyd really stood out in this era, is because they did not do that. So, my first initial thoughts in this were just immediately brought me to life. And the fact that the song is just called Once in a Lifetime just makes me think about how short life really is. Like, it's long, but it's really short too. And I feel as though the older I get, the faster the days go by, the weeks, the months, the years. Before you know it, it's like Christmas and then your birthday, and I don't know, life just sort of passes you by without you really even realizing. And I feel as though this song is trying to indicate to think less about the materialistic things in the world and more about the things that actually matter, such as, you know, your friends or your family, or, you know, pursuing things that you really enjoy. Especially this part here where it's like, where's that large automobile? This is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife. And I feel as though we often think that a lot of the things that are meaningful to us come in the form of like material things. And I suppose even finding love from somebody else can also sort of be applied within this, when in reality, you know, the only real happiness that we can find is within ourselves. And I find another thing that this song is really great at mentioning is where it says, where was it that it said? Same as it ever was. When it says this, it reminds me that same as it ever was could be two things, in the sense of the world is sort of the same as it ever was. You know, the things that really matter is, you know, nature and little things like that. And it also reminds me of sort of going back like thousands of years ago in Stoicism, and the fact that a lot of the things that we think now is literally things that people thought all of these years ago. You know, sadness, loneliness, depression, happiness, purpose, fulfillment. They're all things that we think about now, and yet that's the same as it ever was. This has gone on for generations and generations, and I think it can be quite a comforting thought knowing that it's not just you who has these thoughts, if that makes sense. Yeah, this is a great song. I also do know this song. I don't know where I know it from. I don't think I've ever put it on before. It might be a song that my parents have listened to when I was younger that I recognise. Oh, okay, so Talking Heads. This song pops up in a key early scene of Pixar's 2025 sci-fi film Elo? While the main kid wants to be abducted by aliens. The iconic music video for this song features David Brian Byrne performing the erratic, trance-like movements against a stark white background to achieve this unique choreography. Byrne and director Tony Basil studied footage of various religious rituals, including African tribal dances and evangelical sermons. Byrne then improvised his movements based on these influences, resulting in this memorable dance that perfectly complements the song's themes of existential questioning. The bass line of this song has an interesting origin story. During a jam session, drummer Chris France began shouting a rhythmic pattern, which bassist Tina Weymouth translated into her instrument. I did not know there was a woman in this band. This spontaneous creation became the foundation of the song's groove, demonstrating the band's dynamic and improvisational approach to music making. Damn, that's pretty cool. Next up, we've got Houses in Motion. What an interesting name.
For a long time I felt without style or grace, wearing shoes with no socks in cold weather. I knew my heart
Okay.
was in the right place. I knew I'd be able to do these things. As we watch him digging his own grave, it was important to know that was where he's at. Can't afford to stop. That is what he believed. He'll keep on digging for 1,000 years. I'm walking along. I'm thinking about take motion. I'm walking along. Just barely enough to be living. Get out of the way. No time to begin. This isn't the time. So nothing was done. Not talking about not many at all. Not turning around. No trouble.
Oh, that's good.
Notices nothing around you, around you. I'm walking along. Keep finding me song. Never get to say much. Never get to talk. Tell us a little bit, but not too much. Right about then, it's where she give up. She has closed her eyes. She has give up hope. I'm walking along. I hate to be dreaming in motion. I'm walking along. Just barely enough to be living. Get out of the way. No time to begin. This isn't the time. So nothing was done. Not talking about not many at all.
This vocal melody is amazing.
I'm keeping my fingers behind me. I'm walking along. Keep finding me song.
Okay, that was funky as hell. That was so good. The drums in this were so interesting to me, just the way that the hi-hats were, and then with the snare there. I don't know if the snare was a little bit offbeat, but that was insanely good. I'm gonna be really honest. I actually don't know what this song could be about. It talked about people in motion and then houses in motion. But that was a great song. Something I'm really loving about this thus far is the layers of instruments, because I can be listening to the song and then like the tiniest thing will get me and I'm like, oh, that sounds so good. And it's been there throughout the whole song, but I've only like just noticed it. And there's so many layers of instruments that you can do this to. Let's see what this, if it says that this is about. So when Talking Heads were recording this song, they brought in avant-garde trumpeter John Hassel to add some unique brass elements. Hassel's experimental style gave the track its distinctive off-kilter horn sounds that blend seamlessly with the band's funky rhythms. His contribution added an extra layer of depth to the song's already rich texture. Oh, the lyrics here delve into themes of existential uncertainty and the challenges of navigating life's complexities. Lines like, "I'm walking a line, just barely enough to be living," reflect a sense of precariousness in the struggle to find stability in an ever-changing world. This introspective approach adds depth to the song's rhythmic and melodic innovations. I guess now that I've read that really makes sense, especially when I think of houses in motion. That definitely makes me think of like the housing market nowadays, especially. Okay, yeah, another really interesting song here. I'm really loving the theme of this album. At the moment, I seem to just be hitting albums that have such good themes built up around them, and I'm really loving it, because I feel as though as a songwriter myself, it shows me that, you know, I can really write songs about anything if I just sort of put my mind to it. Next up, we've got Seen and Not Seen. Interesting. I wonder what this could be about. Okay.
He would see faces in movies, on TV, in magazines, and in books. He thought that some of these faces might be right for him, and that through the years, by keeping an ideal facial structure fixed in his mind, or somewhere in the back of his mind, that he might, by force of will, cause his face to approach those of his ideal. The change would be very subtle. It might take 10 years or so. Gradually his face would change its shape. A more hooked nose, wider, thinner lips, beady eyes, a larger forehead. He imagined that this was an ability he shared with most other people. They had also molded their faces according to some ideal. Maybe they imagined a new face would better suit their personality. Or maybe they imagined that their personality would be forced to change to fit the new appearance.
Down.
This is why first impressions are often correct. Although some people might have made mistakes, they may have arrived in an appearance that bears no relationship to them. They may have picked an ideal appearance based on some childish whim or momentary impulse. Some may have gotten halfway there and then changed their minds. He wonders if he too might have made a similar mistake.
Okay, wow. That song felt very powerful to me, and instantaneously I took away that this song could be talking about the societal pressures to look a certain way, and that depending on how you look transfers the ability to be seen or to not be seen. And yeah, that's just instantaneously what I thought of. But then here, where it talks about personality, made me really think that sometimes we think that in order to be seen, we need to change how we look, but sometimes it's actually our personality and our attitude that is what needs to change, not how we actually look. Because in order for our personality change, we can then be more appreciative of how we look, if that kind of makes sense. What an interesting song, that was great. The lyrics of Seen and Not Seen dive into the idea of people trying to mould their appearances to fit some ideal they've got in their heads. It talks about how someone might believe they can shape their face over time just by focusing on it, reflecting on how society and media can shape our self-perception. It's a deep look at the lengths people might go to in order to match their self-image with what they think is ideal. Isn't this crazy to think that even in the 80s, this is something that people faced, and then now with the rise of social media, imagine how much that feeling has increased. That's crazy. On this album, Talking Heads really pushed the envelope with their sound. This song is a perfect example. Instead of singing, David Byrne delivers the lyrics in a spoken word style, which gives the song a hypnotic, almost eerie vibe. This approach fits perfectly with the album's experimental nature, blending different genres and styles to create something totally unique. Yeah, this song was just... I really loved the instrumentation in this as well. I feel as though there was just something about it that felt really different to the other songs. Again, I feel it, especially since this song was more sort of spoken word than sang, it really created a different impact, I find, on the album. Next up, we have got Listening Wind. Interesting. Ooh.
knowledge of the wind to guide him on. The wind in my heart, the wind in my heart, dust in my head, dust in my head. The wind in my heart, the wind in my heart, drive them away, drive them away. The wind in my heart, the wind in my heart, dust in my head, dust in my head.
Wow, okay. That was a really interesting song, and honestly, the only thoughts that I've really had about what this song could possibly about is focusing on the moment that we're in now rather than the past or the future. But other than that, this song has me a little bit baffled. I actually don't really know what this song could be about. The track stands out for its Arabic music influences. That is cool. With guitarist Adrian Belew using effects like the Electric Mistress to create unique sounds. He manipulated the sound by bending it up and down while working a delay, and the volume control on his guitar, adding to the song's atmospheric feel. Okay, that's cool. The song's title suggests Mojik's deep connection to nature, with the wind symbolising guidance and the enduring spirit of his people amidst the changes brought by foreign influence. Oh, wow, that's cool. So, David, I have no idea how to pronounce this guy's last name, so the band's frontman has discussed the song's perspective on terrorism. In a 2004 interview, he mentioned that the song reflects an understanding of why America isn't universally loved, highlighting the complexities of global relations. The Listening Wind tells the story of Mojik, a native who watches his village change as American settlers arrive. Feeling the loss of his culture, he takes action by sending a package, implied to be to the American man. The song explores themes of resistance and the impact of colonialism. Okay, that's very different to what I perceive the song as. I did think of the wind as a sort of guiding force, but that is all about it that, I kind of got right with from the song. Okay, so we're moving on to the last song here, which is The Overload, and it's actually the song with the least streams on this album. I don't know why, but seeing how many streams each song has really, what's the word? Really interests me, because it makes me think, why is this the least listened to song? And then, why is this the most listened to song kind of thing? Other than the fact, obviously, of how popular it might get. But anyways, moving on to the last song, which is The Overload. I love atmosphere like this.
Terrible signal. Even recognize question how the future lies in someone's eyes.
Okay. Wow. Okay, for sure that has to be the most interesting song on the album for me. I mean, I can also see why it's the least streamed, to be fair. I think it was the strangest song for me, but yet it works really well as like an ending song on an album, I feel like. I'm not really sure what this could be about, to be honest. Maybe, I mean, the song's called The Overload, so maybe sometimes how overloaded you can feel with societal pressures, perhaps. I don't know, let's take a look. This song was crafted as their take on the British post-punk vibe, specifically aimed to channel Joy Division. The kicker, they hadn't actually listened to Joy Division's music. Instead, they pieced together their impression from music, press, descriptions, and went from there. Talk about creative interpretation. Are you kidding me? That was like an absolute spot-on take of Joy Division, and the fact that you haven't even listened to their music, that is insane. I thought, yeah, the way that the vocals were and those guitars did feel very Joy Division from that. So this song takes a sharp turn from the upbeat danceable tracks that precede it. It's like the party's over and you're left with this eerie, oppressive soundscape. Some listeners find it a bit of a downer, but others see it as the perfect haunting end to the album's journey. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It feels like a good song to end on an album with, because sometimes I feel as though albums end quite abruptly, as in the third song could have easily been the ending song on this, whereas for me, I feel as though this was sort of the perfect song to end the album on. Wow. Yeah, this is super different to anything that I have listened to ever before this whole album. Like I say, I wasn't sure what to expect, but it most certainly was not this. And the drums in pretty much all of these songs were super interesting too, because they didn't really follow a traditional sort of beat that you would expect. I don't really feel like the rhythms felt like that the rhythms felt like straight rhythms. I mean, like even the snare, like just is so different to what you would usually hear, because usually it's just like kick, snare, kick, snare. Like, that's usually what it's like. Words aren't even making sense now. This was an amazing piece of work to have listened to. Definitely glad that I listened to this. Wow. It kind of feels a bit bizarre that I've listened to this album now because it's been on my list for so long, but I hope that you guys really did enjoy this video. As per usual though, I'm gonna add my editing self into this video to explain more of my thoughts and talk about some of my favourite songs. Everybody, Editing Amy here, and just a quick update on how I feel about the album. Now, personally, it's not actually one of my favourites that I've listened to on this channel. It was good, don't get me wrong, it was a really good album, and I have listened to it a couple more times, but for me, it feels as though it's going to be one of those albums that I'm going to have to listen to quite a lot to, like, really sort of get into it. That's not to say it's not a good album, it's just, like I say, it's not one of my favourites that I've listened to. For something I find as different as that album, that's not enough for me to personally say, oh yeah, this album is really good, or, you know, give a real full true opinion on it. But I do like the album. Like I say, I think it's just very different and something that I'll have to adjust to really get into. As always, guys, just before we end today's video, I just want to say I do have a Patreon. Over there, I get to listen to an absolute free range of things and watch pretty much anything that I want. On YouTube, I run the risk of copyright and getting strikes, whereas on Patreon, I can listen and react to absolutely anything. So if you are interested in more exclusive content, feel free to head over to Patreon. The link will be in the description down below for that. If you're looking to support the channel, you can also sign up for the memberships, which will be in the description below too. If you did enjoy the video, make sure that you leave a thumbs up and subscribe. If you want to tell people about Talking Heads, feel free to share the video too. But without further ado, guys, this was Remain in Light by Talking Heads.